Now you must have been wondering how to answer your thinking log. Let me help you today. This is an example of a thinking log for English. All you have to do first is to write your name. And of course, the second line is your section. You must bear in mind that there is a date of which you should be taking the subject. But of course, it doesn't mean that you really have to do this on Monday because we have to be flexible. This is self-learning modules anyway. And of course, we have here the subject. And it is very important that you are going to make your mind in line with the subject when you are going to answer these reflection questions. Well, it's not really a question, but it's like a clue of what you're going to put in. So, what are you going to write? We have here the first line, things I learned today. To simply put it, ibig sabihin nito, ano ang inyong natutunan sa araw na ito? And that is in relation to your subject, which is English. Then you have the next question. Things I found interesting. Ibig sabihin, alin sa mga lessons ang pinakagusto mo? Then, you have questions I still have. Ano-ano ang iyong mga katanungan? O di kaya, ano ang hindi mo naintindihan? This is a very important line because it is something that your teacher will have a clue if you have understood the lesson or not. And of course, my most enjoyable experience in the lessons. Ano ang pinakamasayang bahagi ng lessons na naranasan mo? Now let's try to answer this together. Let's bring in the English module. And how are we going to do this? Of course, you have here the first page, right? So as you can see, English Quarter 1 Module 6 Forms and Conventions of Film and Moving Pictures. That is a very important clue. You can write it right away there in Things I Learned Today, because that is what it is all about. So you have here Lesson 1 Acting. Now you have there some activities that we will be, we were supposed to answer in class setting, but the class discussion will be here in what is it. So you have to understand what is written in what is it, because that is the meat of the lesson. So you have here, suppose that we have gone through all the activities for lesson 1 and then we have gone through lesson 2, and that is all about dialogue. So we are going to understand it with what is it portion. That is the main discussion, that is the main thing. So we proceed with all the activities, reading through it, and then the most important thing that you're going to answer, by the way, is the assessment. So now we are in setting, that is for lesson 3. So you read through it and understand through the what is it section, because that is where the discussion flows. So we have here the activities. See? So after you go through all of these things in the module, that is when you are going to answer the rest of the questions in the thinking log. Okay? So you will have there things I found interesting. So since it's talking about the forms and conventions of film and moving pictures, you can take a look at the lessons once again and you identify for yourself sa inyong sariling pananaw, which is interesting. So for example, I'm going to say, I found the lesson about acting as the most interesting. And then questions I still have, what course will I take if I want to become a fine actor or actress? See? Ito po ay inyong sariling pananaw. Hindi po ito nakikita doon sa modules, ang question I still have. Okay? So, you must go through the lessons first before answering this. so that you will have better perspective of the lessons. And then you will end up with the last question. My most enjoyable experience in the lessons. Ano nga ba ang pinakamasayang bahagi doon na na-enjoy mo talaga? So, perhaps in those activities you've gone through, you watched some video clips. So that's the most interesting for me. So I will say the most enjoyable experience in the lesson was watching those video clips in the lesson. Now, let us make answering this thinking log easier. Ito po yung nakasulat sa blue. Tingnan natin. Today, I learned about. Tapos, itong gray, forms and conventions of film and moving pictures. Parang fill in the blanks po yan. So, today, I learned about blank. I encourage you to write in complete sentence when you are going to answer your thinking log. Kasi po, nadidismaya po kami mga teachers na tig-iisang salita lang po ang inyong inilalagay sa thinking log. So this is something that you should have learned even from the beginning. Ini-encourage talaga kayo na magsulat in complete sentence. So, pwede na po yan. Today, I learned about, tapos lagyan nyo po ng continuation. Things I found interesting. So, pwede yan. I found the lesson about blank as the most interesting. So, ganun lang yon. Questions I still have. Ito po, wala po talaga akong ma-recommend sa inyo na pattern because these questions might start with what, might start with where, when. So, the WH questions, the how. So, pwede po dito. So, it depends on you. Kung ano po yung talagang gusto nyong itanong kay teacher na hindi kayo naliliwanagan doon sa module. And of course, the last one, my most enjoyable experience in the lessons. Ito pwede naman. The most enjoyable experience in the lesson was blank. So, bahala na kayong mag-continue kung ano ang inyong ilalagay doon sa sentence. So, also bear in mind that this is more on what you think about. So, if answering in English is too difficult for you, use our very own. Mag-Filipino po tayo. Wala namang masama doon, di ba? So, just express what you are thinking because after all, this is a thinking log.